What's up, YouTube? This is Bystander X39, guys. Today I'm coming to you with my latest deck profile video for April 2021. And today, guys, we're going to be looking at my Marincess deck. Now, Marincess is the Water Tribute Cybers archetype from the Link Frames anime. A lot of people compare it to the Salamangreat deck, primarily because there are a lot of similar effects, being able to kick back resources from the graveyard back to your hand so you can continue building your board. The only primary difference that I'm finding between the two decks is that Marincess has a bit more of a higher ceiling when it comes down to putting actual powerful monsters on board. And its particular play, if it goes through uninterrupted, can leave you with a monster that's very strong and unaffected by your opponent's card effects, and that can make it very hard to deal with, which is something that Salamangreats really can't do all that well. You mix in some other generic water support into the deck, like the Frog Engine, and you can put an Unmitigate on board to help you protect yourself from opponents' interferences, and the deck does play very well. I can tell you right now, I'm enjoying playing this deck. I'm kind of happy that I fell backwards into it via the collecting the cards through various box openings and even through the Megatins of last year. So, personally, when I picked this deck up, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and this is definitely something that you should try out yourself. So without further ado, we're jumping right into this. Starting off with the first monster, 3 copies of Marincess Blue Tang. The Blue Tang gang is so important, which is why we run her at 3. She's pretty much very compared to Salamangreat, Gazelle, as well as Foxy. The Gazelle aspect being allowing you to send any Marincess monster from your deck to your graveyard. The Foxy aspect being whenever she's sent to the graveyard, you get to excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and add a Marincess card into your hand so you can dig deeper into your deck to see more combo pieces. Next up, we have 3 copies of Marincess Pescalis. Pescalis, another card that you want to be seeing in your open hand besides Blue Tang, primarily because when you summon Pescalis, you're special summoning another Marincess monster from your hand to the field, allowing you to get multiple bodies on the board, allows you to begin link climbing, and from there you can combo off. Pescalis does have another effect that can allow you to banish her to kick back another Marincess spell or trap card from the graveyard. Very important in special in mid to late game grinds, just in case you need to recycle a certain Marincess spell or a trap card back into your hand. I do run the 1-of copy of Marincess Bessimilima. That's how you say her name. Primary reason why I keep her in the deck is that there's a lot of different discard outlets that you can get her into the graveyard with, and while she's in the graveyard, she acts as a bit of a protector for your rest of your field. If any of your monsters will be destroyed by card effects, you can banish her and protect your monsters from being destroyed, and this includes your own, which does play well. Furthermore, anytime she is banished, she can target a Marincess monster on your field and give it a 600 point attack point boost, and that attack point boost is permanent, which just is awesome and can help out the big boss monster of from the extra deck. So definitely worth having at least 1 of her in the deck. 3 copies of Marincess Seahorse, also a necessary card. While this card's in your hand and you have Link monster on the field, you can special summon her to the zone Link monster points to. From there, Link climb even further. She does have an in-graveyard effect, but that's typically something you want to be doing on your following turn. Banishing her can special summon a Water Tribute monster from your hand, so she can help you get started on your following turn. So she definitely does do a lot of work. 2 copies of Mandarin. If this card in the hand or the graveyard, and you control 2 Marincess monsters, you can summon this card to a zone of Link monster. One of your Marincess Link monsters points to, and you get an additional extender. That's pretty much what she's in the deck for. She banishes herself when she leaves the field after you do this. Not really that much of an issue. primarily because there are ways you can actually get her back. And then we do run the Frog Engine, 3 copies of Swap Frog, 1 copy of Ronin Tonin. This is the bare bones Frog Engine you want to be running in Marincess right now, because you want to be opening with your Marincess cards more often than pieces of the Frog Engine. That's why we only run these 4. Swappy's got the discard cost to special summon itself out of your hand, which is great because it just discards any water type monster, and Marincesses are all the waters. On summon, you get to bury Ronin Tonin from your deck to your grave, which is awesome. Or you could bury another Swappy, depending on what you already have in your grave. And then from there, you can actually build your board, probably go into your Totally Awesomes if you have the right setup, and be able to protect your board during your turn while you build. Very huge. And last but not least, we have 1 copy of Sea Archiver. I just find Sea Archiver the better of the water extenders, because a lot of the other water extenders I've seen being used, like Silent Angler or even the Water Tenure, you have to hard draw them into your hand in order to actually be able to play them. With Sea Archiver, since it's a Cyberse type, you have the ability to search it out of your deck with Silent Mining, so this makes it a much better card to have, in my opinion. Just an overall great extender. Hand traps, 3 copies of Ash Blossom Joyous Spring. Interfere with your opponent's ability to search or get materials into their graveyard. 2 copies of Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. Very awesome, especially in a link heavy format, like with Dragon Link around. Just being able to get this card on the field, you're able to draw additional cards, fix your hand so you're able to respond during your opponent's turn, or even set up a play that can just destroy your opponent's board on your following turn, which is awesome. While on the field, it has a discard effect to negate any card effects that target your cards, which is actually very awesome. And last but not least, 2 copies in Nibiru. Well, what can I say? Nibiru is just an amazing card, this format. Anytime you have a combo-centric deck that's pretty much top in the meta, this card is just so well used in the meta, because you just wipe their board away and be able to play your game during your turn and eventually take the win. Moving on to the spells, 1 copy of Called by the Grave. Quick play spell allows you to basically deal with hand traps or any other problematic monsters that might be going into the graveyard. 3 copies of Silent Mining, discard a card, search your deck for a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster, and that's pretty much the majority of your main deck. Foolish Burial gets you a key card into your graveyard. The Fury of the Carrier Sheen, this card is an amazing searcher because it allows you to search Torrential Tribute. Just having that trap card on the field can do a whole lot more psychological problems to your opponent, because they're going to have to play short, worrying about them tripping off that trap card. And furthermore, this card in your graveyard is like Basilima, or Basilimia, again, where you could banish it and protect your monsters from being destroyed by card effects. So, very awesome. And of course, we have the most important Marincess spell card in the deck, Battle Ocean. Battle Ocean, just huge. Power boosts all Marincess monsters by 200 attack, and then when you link summon to the Link Monster Zone, or the Extra Monster Zone, you get to choose 3 Marincess monsters with different names, equip them to that monster, and then power boosts that monster by 600 attack for each monster equipped, which is actually pretty cool. Makes that monster unaffected if you use Crystal Heart as part of the Link Summon. So definitely this is a key important card in the deck. A lot of people say this deck lives and dies by this card. To be very honest, the few times I've had this card popped when I played the deck, I was able to play through just keeping Crystal Heart in the Extra Monster Zone. So It's better with a card on the field, but its deck is not dead without it. One copy of Monster Reborn, just a great extender. One copy of 1-for-1. 1-for-1 is just awesome. It allows you to pitch a monster to get Mandarin out of your deck. So another way to special summon it. And you get that additional extender because it won't banish itself because it's not using this effect to special summon itself. And last but not least, we have 2 copies of Pot of Desires. I've seen other decks using the new Pot card in the deck. To be very honest, I really don't like that particular card in the deck. Just taking away resources out of such a deck that relies heavily on your extra, it just doesn't seem right. And it can put you in a real bad way, even if you're doing 3. I like Desire a lot better because you control all the various searches, and once you get those searches done, you just drop Desires to draw deeper into your deck, and thin your deck as well. Next up, traps. We have 2 copies of Marincess Wave. Initially, I tested this card out at 3. It does its job at 3, but I just find the effect negation it provides kind of limiting because you need to have that Marincess Link Monster on board in order to get the effect negation. To make your cards unaffected, you need a Link 2, and then in order to activate this card from your hand, you need to have a Link 3, and if you're playing second blind, this card probably is going to be, and you have this card in your hand, it's going to probably be sitting in your hand for a bit because your opponent probably won't be letting you go through it with a lot of your plays to get to that Link 3 point. So that's why I like playing this at 2. It's recyclable, so that's why you're able to get it back when you need it. The trap card I do like playing in this deck is 3 copies of Paleozoic Dynamistus as a discard cost, but you could just banish any card off the field, and that includes back row as well, so it can deal with a lot of different decks that are in the meta right now. Furthermore, getting this card in the graveyard and then activating another trap card puts another water or tribute body on board, which just can allow you to do a lot of different things. So it makes sense to run this card at 3. And last but not least, we do have Fury of the Carrier Machine, so 2 copies of Torrential Tribute, just because your opponent summons, you can blow the field. And with Basimila and Fury of the Carrier Machine in your graveyard, you can protect your monster, so yeah, definitely worth having. And a lot of times your opponent doesn't see it coming. Extra deck, pretty standard for Marincess stuff. 2 copies of Blue Slug allows you to get your Marincess monsters back into your hand. So great if you have to dump Seahorse off of Blue Tank's effect. You can recycle her back and then get Seahorse back onto the field. You get the idea. It does lock you into water attributes, but that's not a big of an issue. That's not an issue with this deck, so. 1 copy of Sea Angel. Sea Angel searches out Battle Ocean, so that's your primary search for her. 2 copies of Coral Anemone. Anemone can target any Marincess monster in your graveyard with 1500 or less attack. Special summon it to its own points too, which is awesome, allowing you to build your field and combo off. She's the best Link 2, one of the best Link 2s in this deck for Link climbing. Furthermore, whenever she's sent to the graveyard, she can recycle any Marincess card back into your hands, monster, spell, or trap, so she just gets you your materials and resources back. 1 copy of Crystal Heart. Crystal Heart typically is used as a combo piece with the field spell to make the Link 4 into an unaffected monster. By itself, if it's in an extra monster zone, yeah, it can do a lot. By itself as well, it can protect itself. While it's in the extra monster zone, it's unaffected by your opponent's card effects. If it battles an opponent's monster, that monster becomes unaffected by other card effects except for its own. So if your opponent's power boosting with field spells or other card effects, you just negate all that. And furthermore, this card can actually protect itself or any other Marincess Link monster it points to. By discarding a Marincess monster from your hand to the field, your Marincess monsters won't be destroyed, and you take no battle damage, which is just great boons. So definitely, if your field spell gets popped, keeping this card in your extra monster zone, great way to protect your monsters. And you can still build your field. Then you have Marincess Marble Rock. Marble Rock, again, like Blue cycle stuff back into your Marincess monsters back into your hand. And she also has a similar effect to that of Crystal Heart, where it can protect any of your monsters from being destroyed by battle, or even taking battle damage. And last but not least, you got the big boss monster of the Marincess archetype, Great Bubble Reef. She's just an awesome card. During either play standby, you banish a water tribute monster from your graveyard, and you get to draw a card, which is awesome. Seeing more cards is always a good thing. And then you could actually discard, during your turn, you can actually discard a water tribute monster to special summon a banished Marincess monster back to your field, so you can set up a field to go into some bigger plays on your following turn, or just put more attack on board to swing. So these definitely does good. Alright. Now, for the follow-up plays on your second turn, or whether you're going second, you want to be focusing more on getting out access to the target. So Splash Mage would be the first card you want to summon. Splash Mage, just like Coral Anime, brings back a Cyberse monster from your graveyard. And then you just link off into Transco Tarker. Transco Tarker's effect will activate, bringing back Splash Mage, and then you link those two off into your Access to Tarker. Access to Tarker will target your Transco Tarker, giving it a 3k attack point boost. And furthermore, you'll have at least 2 different attributes in the graveyard, so you get 2 pops, plus a swing with 5k. Beats deck, which is not bad. Now, since we have the Frog Engine in, we do have Totally Awesome. 2 copies is just enough for the deck. Such an awesome card, because by sending an Aqua monster to the graveyard, you get that Omni-Negate, and that Omni-Negate can steal your opponent's resources off their field and give them to you, so you have more materials to build with during your turn. Very cool. Another cool thing is that it could grab a Toad or a Swap Frog from your Aqua monster from your deck to your field, so you can actually build into use that monster for its Omni-Negate effect, or just use the monster to build into other things that you need. So it has a lot of different resources. You can kick back any more tribute monster back to your hand, which is awesome, and just using the Frog Engine or the Paleozoics alone could get you into this guy, or you could just go to level 4 or Bahamut Shark to get him out. Anyway, to get this card out on the field, it just makes your life a lot easier, because once you have that Omni-Negate established, your opponent's gonna be hard pressed to really deal with your field. So, and last but not least, one last rank for Ixies, and that's gonna be Abyss Dweller. Just works so well on this deck. Make it with water attribute monsters. Power boosts all your water attribute monsters by 500 attack, which is awesome. And then you can use this quick effect to basically shut down your opponent's graveyard effects for the entire turn, and that can hurt your opponent very well, which is why I love this card so much in this deck. Guys, that is it for my Marincess deck profile for April 2021. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. Enable notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Check out the description box below. Find the invite link to my Discord server. Join the conversation. We'd love to have you. Also, check out the links to my affiliates, tcgplayer.com, as well as sidedeckversus.com. Great resources for any Yu-Gi-Oh player. Follow me on social media. And as always, guys, until next time, peace.